Italy is not just a stunning land of art, culture, and history. It also has a shadowy side that many people might not be aware of. You know, the kind of stuff that gets whispered about in dark corners. Yep, I'm talking about the Mafia, that notorious criminal organization that's been lurking around for centuries. In this video, we're diving deep into how the Italian Mafia was born, how it grew to such staggering power, and what kind of impact it's had on Italian society. Stick around, because there's a lot to unpack here. Did you know the roots of the Italian Mafia stretch back to the 19th century? It all kicked off in Sicily when a bunch of criminals decided to band together to protect the interests of wealthy landowners. Sounds like a plot twist in a movie, right? Before long, they were knee-deep in illegal activities like gambling and extortion. By the time the 20th century rolled around, they had morphed into a powerful force that no one could ignore. Let's talk about the origin story of the Italian Mafia. Picture Sicily. Its rugged terrain and isolated communities made it a breeding ground for secret societies. The Sicilian Mafia emerged in the mid-19th century, made up of bandits and smugglers who claimed to protect the rural folks from corrupt officials and oppressive landlords. They were like the Robin Hoods of their time, or at least they thought they were. But what really sparked the formation of these criminal organizations? It all goes back to the Spanish rulers who left Sicily in 1713. The island was then sold to the Kingdom of Sardinia, creating a power vacuum that these secret societies were more than happy to fill. They offered protection to the people of Sicily, but of course, it came with a price: money and favors. And just like that, they started to grow in power. At first, these early mafias weren't involved in drug trafficking or racketeering. They were more like local gangs trying to make a name for themselves. But as time went on, they figured out how to work together and form larger organizations. Before long, they had sprawling networks that stretched across the island and beyond, infiltrating every nook and cranny of Italian life. So, how did the Italian Mafia grow so big and powerful? Well, they were masters at adapting to the times. When the Italian government decided to crack down on their activities, they didn't just fold up and go home. Nope. They went underground and shifted their focus to new criminal activities like gambling and extortion. And when the demand for drugs skyrocketed in the US, guess who was ready to step in? You got it, the Italian Mafia. But let's not forget about the leaders who helped steer the ship. One of the most famous figures was Lucky Luciano, often referred to as the godfather of the Mafia. This guy was a game changer. He restructured the organization, allowing it to expand and thrive. Instead of just local racketeering, he pushed the Mafia into more lucrative ventures like drug trafficking. Talk about a business-savvy criminal. If you're curious about the Italian Mafia, trust me, there's so much more to uncover. The world of organized crime is filled with twists and turns that'll keep you on your toes. Now, let's clear up some misconceptions about the Italian Mafia. It's not just a relic of the past, it's very much alive and kicking today, even if it operates mostly in the shadows. And guess what? The Italian Mafia isn't confined to Italy. It's spread its wings to other parts of the world, including the US, Canada, and Australia. You might be surprised to learn just how far its reach extends. Another thing many folks don't realize is that the Italian Mafia isn't made up solely of violent criminals. There are plenty of white-collar criminals involved, too. These are the folks who work in finance or business and use their smarts to commit crimes like fraud and money laundering. It's a whole different ballgame. And it shows just how multifaceted organized crime can be. Let's not forget the Mafia's code of silence, known as Omertà. This strict rule means that members can't cooperate with law enforcement, even if they get caught red-handed. It's a tough life, but that's how they maintain their grip on power. The Italian Mafia has also had a profound influence on Italian culture. You can see its impact in movies, music, and literature. Think about it. How many films have you seen that romanticize the Mafia lifestyle? It's fascinating and a bit troubling at the same time, don't you think? Now that we've skimmed the surface, let's dive deeper into the origins and evolution of the Italian Mafia. We touched on its early roots in Sicily. But it wasn't until the 20th century that it really took off. One big reason: the rise of industrialization and urbanization in Italy. As people flocked to cities, they became prime targets for recruitment into the mafia. But it wasn't just about having more recruits. The 20th century was a time of massive upheaval in Italy. The government was corrupt and widely despised, creating a perfect storm for the mafia to thrive. People were looking for solutions, and the mafia was all too willing to step in. Another factor that fueled the mafia's growth was the skyrocketing demand for illegal goods and services. During the 20th century, the appetite for drugs and other illicit items exploded, giving the mafia a huge market to tap into. They were quick to adapt and meet that demand, turning their operations into a well-oiled machine. As the mafia evolved, it became more complex and sophisticated. It developed a hierarchical structure, and its members began to specialize in different areas of crime. Some became experts in extortion, while others focused on drug trafficking. This specialization allowed them to expand their operations even further. The impact of the Italian mafia on society was nothing short of staggering. Corruption spread like wildfire, creating a sense of lawlessness that many Italians had to navigate daily. The mafia became deeply entrenched in various aspects of Italian life, and it took decades for the country to really crack down on organized crime. While we're on the topic, it's crucial to note that the mafia wasn't the only criminal organization operating in Italy. There were rival groups, like the Camorra in Naples and the Sacra Unita in Puglia. Yet, despite this competition, the mafia managed to maintain its dominance in many regions. So, how did the mafia manage to stay on top? One reason was their ability to adapt and innovate. They were always changing and evolving, ready to tackle new challenges head-on. And let's be real, they weren't afraid to get their hands dirty if it meant achieving their goals. Strong leadership also played a significant role in the mafia's success. Over the years, they've had some incredibly powerful and charismatic leaders who guided the organization through tough times. These leaders were often ruthless and cunning, and they knew how to build loyalty among their ranks. It's also worth mentioning that the mafia had a surprising amount of support from the general public. Many Italians viewed the mafia as a necessary evil, a force for good in a corrupt system. This mindset was especially prevalent in Sicily, where the mafia had deep cultural roots. The Italian mafia has been a formidable presence in the country for over a century. Despite law enforcement's best efforts, it continues to adapt and thrive. Understanding the factors that contributed to its success helps us grasp the complexities of organized crime and the challenges involved in combating it. As we wrap up our exploration of the Italian mafia, it's essential to recognize the lasting impact this organization has had on Italian society and culture. Its influence can be seen in politics, art, and everyday life. One of the most famous portrayals of the mafia in popular culture is Mario Puzo's novel The Godfather. This story, along with its film adaptations, has done a lot to shape the public's perception of the mafia as a brutal yet honorable organization. But remember, that's just a fictional representation. The real-life Italian mafia is far more intricate and layered. The Italian mafia has also been the focus of numerous documentaries and news articles, offering a more realistic look at its activities. If you're interested in learning more, I highly recommend diving into these resources for a deeper understanding. Overall, the Italian mafia is a captivating and complex subject that continues to intrigue people worldwide. By digging into its history, we can better understand the darker aspects of Italian history and the ongoing struggle against organized crime. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more historical tales. Thanks for hanging out with us today.